Income Wheel Warriors: How to Build a Stable Income and a Flexible Life by Kelly Phillips. Text copyright 2023 by Kelly Phillips. Audio copyright 2023 by Kelly Phillips. Not to be reused or performed without permission. Chapter 1: The Trap of Success. We woke up one morning in the spring of 2020, and the world had completely changed. The impacts of the coronavirus pandemic were surreal. As I write this book in 2023, for most of us, daily life appears to be back to normal. But the one thing that still lingers as a fear in the back of our minds, it's a little niggling voice, or as big as a booming radio announcer, is your job can disappear in an instant. Of all of the things that changed since 2020, the world of work is one that will never truly be the same. Now, putting in your requisite 40 hours and fulfilling only your assigned tasks is seen as quiet quitting. Employees have proven their jobs can be done effectively working remotely, but many companies insist that they come back to the office, needlessly sacrificing time with family, gas money, and their own sanity. Even job searching has changed. Employers and employees ghosting each other for interviews and on the first day of work is commonplace. And employees are demanding more money, more benefits, and more time off. Because right now it's a job seeker's market, and they're getting it. But that won't last. During the pandemic, you may have realized that you deserve better in a work situation. Or there may have been a small voice screaming, "There's got to be a better way," in the back of your head for years. Well, there is a better way. A way that you can earn enough money to keep your family comfortable while living life on your terms. That might mean going into an office every day, or it might mean working on a laptop from a beach somewhere. There is a way for you to design a life that works for you, and that's what this book is about. It's not about getting super rich working 4 hours a day. It's not about implementing some faddish gimmick to earn a bunch of money from unsuspecting consumers. But wishing won't make it happen. You've got to take action. Rethinking success. If you're a baby boomer or a Gen Xer like me, you were probably brought up to define success as having a steady full-time job, an accomplished spouse, 2.5 kids, a house, and 2 nice cars. If you had to go into debt up to your eyeballs to get it, no matter. As long as you looked successful, that's all that mattered. If you're a millennial, success was finding a job that paid enough to allow you to move out of your parents' house. Actually, buying a house is practically out of reach. In Gen Z, success is less about money and more about being a social media star. It turns out that's not such a crazy idea after all. Obviously, these are generational stereotypes, and I'm saying them with some sarcasm, but they do help to make an excellent point. For many of us, our idea of success has been defined by the people around us. Think for a moment. Have you ever felt that spike of jealousy when a friend gets a promotion or buys a new, bigger house and you're stuck in your old job in your tiny apartment? You may be perfectly happy with your job and your apartment, but you still feel that stab of envy that comes when you learn about their accomplishments. Now, if you buy into the stereotypical ideals of success, then you're always going to feel like you're less than. Like someone else is beating you at the game. There will always be more to achieve, and someone else will always be more successful than you. Most people never find true happiness or true success when they're stuck in this cycle, no matter how much they accomplish. At some point in your life, there comes a moment where you stop and look around, and you wonder how you got where you are and why you even wanted to be there in the first place. Now, don't get me wrong, I love America and all of the dreams and ideals that it stands for, but I feel like we've gone a bit wonky on our execution of it all. I mean, who decided that success was defined by working 60 hours a week and driving a fancy car home to a fancy house where you go to sleep just to do it all over again the next day, and the next, and the next? I mean, who decided that it was a good idea to mortgage our future lives to the hilt on credit so that we could have the fancy things that make other people think we're happy and successful? It seems to me the standard definition of success was created to trap us in a never-ending cycle of money-making. Work to make money, acquire things. Work to make more money to pay for more things. Get credit to acquire things you can't afford right now. Work more to pay for the debt and interest accruing on the things you bought on credit. And soon you're trapped. You need to make enough money to live on, and you need to make enough money to pay for the things you bought over the last 5 years that you may or may not even have anymore. But you certainly have the debt that accrued from the purchase. You're spending 60 hours a week working for a paycheck that barely covers your current bills, and you still don't know how you're going to send the kids to college, fix the car when it breaks, or take a vacation. In May of 2021, the World Health Organization released a study that concludes working 55 or more hours per week is associated with an estimated 35% higher risk of stroke and a 17% higher risk of dying from ischemic heart disease, compared to working 35 to 40 hours a week. Most of the deaths recorded were among people dying aged 60 to 79 years, who had worked for 55 hours or more per week between the ages of 45 and 74 years. Now let that sink in for a minute. Working long hours when you're in your 40s and 50s has been proven to significantly increase your risk of stroke and heart disease just when you're ready to retire and enjoy your life. It's likely you know someone this has happened to. What are we doing to ourselves, and why are we doing it? From a career perspective, an entire section of our workforce who is working highly physical jobs that take an intense emotional toll, like food service, had a moment to stop and breathe in 2020. Many of them realized that they had the potential for much better careers and better situations, and used their pandemic lockdown to train and certify to enter other careers. During that time, I taught classes in partnership with the North Carolina Employment Agency, so I've talked to these people. I've heard their stories and listened to their epiphanies. Many have told me that they were fighting so hard just to survive on low salaries and difficult work conditions that they didn't have the mental space to think about doing anything else. All of that changed when the world shut down for months and they lost their jobs. The pandemic has accelerated a movement that had already begun to gain speed. The idea that we can do work differently, that we can take some control over our lives and our financial situation, even us regular folks. While many employers have recognized this and expanded their work-life balance policies, many people have decided to take control and make it happen for themselves, just like you. So what now? Redefining your definition of success is the first step. But then what? How do you redefine success in your own head so that it leads to true happiness? Well, the answer is going to be different for each one of us, but the path to getting there is the same. The first step is reprogramming your mind to stop focusing on the things that your friends and family will admire you for and start focusing on the things that are meaningful to you. Do you even know what that is right now? Most people are taught to look for approval in all that they do. They're taught to value what their teachers and mentors value and work to achieve that approval. But is the thing they want for you also the thing that you want for yourself? It's time to find the answer to that question.